Condo, corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Condo, corner watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner, where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
Good evening, everyone. It is episode 38 of Conjure Corner on the Herp Collectors Network. Tonight, we are bringing on Jake. We are going to deep dive into Amazons even more than we already have been, and I'm super excited. Before we bring him on stage, just a quick couple hellos to James Perry from JNS Exotics. My boy Randy. I just recently posted up updated pictures of Randy Jr. And I laugh every time we share a post or somebody else is like, oh, hey, Randy Jr. Sorry, Randy. Mike Duval, what's going on? Dickie Foster, thank you for coming on. And we're going to keep it short and sweet and go ahead and bring on Jake.
What's up?
So what do you think of my name, Randy Jr.? Because I couldn't come up with anything else.
I think that's going to be a big snake.
I think so too.
With a big personality.
He's an awesome snake though. He's awesome.
Is he, how's his temperament?
Oh, so chill. Like literally, I don't even need to move slowly with him at all. I can literally open his tub and just reach in, and he's like, "Hi." So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Amazons that are baby tame like that.
Yeah, me too. Because I don't like getting licked a bunch of times. That's for sure.
I also like the feisty ones, though. The feisty ones kind of remind me of me.
Yeah.
A fighter.
Are you? You're feisty?
I'm a feisty fighter.
Fair
I'll
enough.
be kicking and screaming all the way to the grave.
That's what keeps us around longer sometimes.
That's right.
So to kick things off, I guess we go back to the basics with you. How long ago did you originally get into Amazons, and what got you into Amazons?
Well, I'm 45 now, and I got my first Amazon when I was 19, so 26 years ago. Went into a local pet store, and they had a red tail boa, and I thought that'd be cool to have. It was a baby, and I bought it and didn't know what I was doing, and they had a book on boa constrictors. It was a thin book, and I thought, well, I'll buy that too, because maybe there'll be some good advice in there. And I get home, and I've got the red tail around my neck like everybody does, and I'm flipping through the book, and lo and behold, there's a red Amazon tree boa, and this was in 1998. And, internet wasn't really a thing at the time, so I didn't know what I was looking at, but whatever I was looking at, I wanted. So I reached out to the pet store, and I was like, do you know anybody that can get me an Amazon tree boa? And the lady's like, sure, I'll have you one next Tuesday. And I'm like, cool. So I came, and I came to pick it up, and it was a little lavender garden phase Neo. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And brought it home, put it in a 10-gallon aquarium, and didn't know what to do next. So it didn't stop there. I ended up getting this really feisty thing. It was like what we call a tricolor today.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea that thing was going to be as feisty as it was. I reached in the bag, and this was an adult, and I don't know if it was wild caught or if it was a surplus male that the breeder had or whatnot. I reached in and got tagged like 15 times. And I'm like, man, what did I get into? And so I ended up building that adult a enclosure, but didn't know about their humidity needs. And it didn't register up here that this thing is an Amazon tree boa. It was just a snake. And so I built a 2x4 framed 3x3, 4x4 enclosure with a small like wire mesh that went around it. And I was really proud of myself. But neither of the snakes did well. Yeah, I fell in love. I did fall in love. Neither of those animals did well, but it wasn't long after I got them that I ended up joining the Army. And so I brought them back to the pet store. And hopefully they had a good experience after me, but again, I had no clue what I was doing. And
handed out bites to somebody else.
I bet. That tricolor was mean. Matter of fact, I called him some wordy dirds a few times after he tagged me 15. I'm pretty sure it was a male. Nowadays, my males that I have, and I've got all captive bred. I don't play with anything that's wild caught or imported. But my females are the ones that are little turds. And my males, most of the males, I've got 2 males that are kind of crazy. But I don't handle my Amazons that often, only really for picture time. When I take pictures, I'll get them out. And a lot of them that I have the feisty ones, they'll tag you 10, 15 times, and then they kind of chill. They'll chill out, and I can get some pictures. In the summertime, I've got some crepe myrtle trees in my yard, and I will pose. If you go on my Instagram page, you'll see a lot of pictures of the Amazons in the crepe myrtle trees. Mm-hmm. And I'll try to pose them as best I can, take 15, 20 pics of each snake, and then I'll put them up.
All right, so the Halloweens always start the addiction.
Yeah, Randy's got it right.
Mine was a little bicolor import that bit the shit out of me.
Those bicolors are sweet.
He's an ass,
but
though. He literally bites the shit. He bit the shit out of me.
That means he's healthy. That means he's healthy, because the biters, if they're not biting, they could be lethargic, or they could have something going on that you don't know about.
Well, he bit the shit out of me.
I don't like getting bit in the fingertips. That's where, I have been bit in the face one time right here. I was posing I was posing one of my ATBs in my neighbor's house on a like a flower kind of, I don't even know what kind of, it was like a bush or something. And I had two of them out, and I had both of them posed, and I was getting pictures of one, getting pictures of the other one. And as I was taking pictures of the one of them, the other one reached out and got me on the cheek. And I said, never again. It's too close to the eyeball. And, I don't like getting bit anyway. That's, it's okay. It's not like the end of the world, but I try to leave them alone,
Yeah.
just let them do their thing. And when I probe them, I really won't probe until about 18 months old, because you can, and I don't, you got to know what you're doing, but you can probe an 18-month-old, and if it probes male, sometimes they'll breed that young. That's why I wait till 18 months. And then if it probes female, that's great. I know it's a female, or I think it's a female until I prove it out. But I won't breed a female until 3 years, 3.5 years, 3 years and a few months. And they gotta be, the female's got to have some size to them. My Amazons aren't obese. I see a lot of pictures on the internet of obese Amazons, and I think, it's great. It's great in ways that female's got a lot of size to her,
Mhm.
but I don't think for longevity that helps them. It's like a human being, or a dog or a cat. If they're obese, they're going to have health problems.
Mhm.
And so and that's why I stay away from rats. I feed mice, and my adult females get 1 to 2 mice every 7 to 14 days.
Have you ever
What's up,
offered
Mission Boy?
button quail?
I've never fed quail, and honestly, I don't. Well, besides the rodent dealers on the internet, I wouldn't know where to get them from locally. I'd have to buy them from, and I don't change it up. I just feed mice. A lot of people do rats, and there's nothing wrong with that. Rats do give them, I think, a little more body fat.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go to my Instagram page, and you can tell my Amazons are healthy. They're not obese. They're not too skinny.
They're not shaped like
But
ball
I've seen-
pythons.
That's right. I've seen some really obese Amazons on the internet, and I would personally be ashamed if that was my snake.
But people post them proudly. They do the same thing with green trees. Sometimes you see a green tree and you're like, good God, how is that thing even wrapped around the perch? Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, and so to start back where we got off when the show started, I got my first Amazons in 98, 99, and then I joined the Army, went all over the world for 5 years, got out of the Army, and the only real place at the time to get snakes was kingsnake.com. And so most of my collection was wild caught imports. And when you get those boogers in, they're not obese. They're not obese. So, and most of them were, long term, I don't know what they had virus wise or disease wise or bacteria, but most of them did pretty good. But I had, I don't know, 30 or 40. I was buying one every week off a king snake, and they were coming in with mites and bad sheds, and oh, those were the days. Appreciate your service too, man. Yeah, those were the days. And I remember my first captive bred Amazons came from Ben Siegel. They were leopards, two neonate leopards. I paid $750 a piece for them. Well, he had, I think it was 1,000 for one or 1,500 for a pair.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being a wise guy, I thought I'll get a pair, and that means I got a male and a female, and I can grow them up and breed them. But when I got my first set of probes, 75% of what I had bought was male. And a lot of well-known people I was getting Amazons from sold males, but they advertised them as females. And I don't know if that's because they didn't probe them or that's just the way it went back then.
Shit.
Yeah, so bummer when I got my probes that 30 of my snakes were male and 6 of them were female. That was 14, and that was 20 years ago. That was 20 years ago. And now you got guys like Randy and Rory and Dayton and others that you can pretty much bet that if they say it's a male, it's a male. If they say it's a female, it's a female.
Well, if Randy Jr. ends up being a girl down the road, it's still going to be Randy Jr. So
that's perfect. I kind of name my Amazons. I name all my Amazons, and I'll name the Neos too after I've had them for a few months. But I kind of try to name my Amazons after military weaponry of all sorts. Militaries, foreign militaries, old militaries, new militaries. They all kind of have, except for like Twinkie and Honey Bun. Those two I got from Dayton. And I think I sent you a picture of Twinkie.
I believe I do have Twinkie. I have Twinkie right here. This was post-ovulation shed, it says, or post-shed.
Post-shed, yeah, post-shed. And you can see why I named him Twinkie. He's a very interesting. I haven't, obviously, right there, you can tell he's still a little guy. So,
was this
I haven't
white
proven him out, but
him?
It is. That was an oddball that Dayton had a couple years ago. And when I saw him, I was like, man, I'd love to have that snake. And I actually went to Portland May of 2024 and got to link up with Dayton in person. And I was like, dude, where's Twinkie? I didn't even want to see his Lucy's. I've had Lucy's before. They're awesome. But I was like, I want to see Twinkie because that's a one-of-a-kind snake. So I went in there and checked out his snake room, and he pulled Twinkie out, and I was like, oh, my God. So I was able to get Twinkie mainly, I'm thinking mainly because the two leucistics that Dayton produced 2 years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago, they probed male, and Twinkie also probed male. So I told Dayton, I said, well, you got 2 male Lucy's. You don't need Twinkie. And he's like, eh. And I'm like, eh. I was like, I want Twinkie. He's gorgeous. And he's a good boy. He's a real good boy. I love that picture because he kind of got his head tilted. He's kind of like, hey, man, what's up?
Yeah, he's pretty.
Thank you. The credit goes to Dayton for producing him, and then I'm raising him up and going to cycle him into the breeding program this December. I like to try to pair my Amazons up December 1st. because that's when I see October, November. You might get some locks. I'm in Alabama. I'm close to Birmingham. It's hilarious. I'm here in Alabama, and I really see locks coming in strong in the month of December, January, February, March. But most of my ovulations occur in May. And mid-May, late May, I'll get a shed, a POS. And this season, I was unable to pair my Amazons due to construction at my house. I added a 400. Oh, Montgomery. That's where I just moved from. I just moved from Montgomery. I lived off of Wares Ferry Road, off Atlanta Highway in College Grove. I just moved from there 2.5, 3 years ago, and now I'm up here close to Marshall Mendez. And I've been to Marshall's house and seen his stellar collection. That guy knows what he's doing.
Yes.
That guy knows what he's doing. He's got a bunch of awesome reptiles and some stuff I've never seen before.
He's probably got a collection most of us would dream we could have.
Oh yeah, and a snake. Not only a snake room that'll make you jealous, but a balcony outside a snake room that's got a view to die for and will really make you jealous. So if you're listening, Marshall, shout out. The baby I got from you a year ago is doing great. I got a het leopard, possible het calico. I call her Solara. And another 1.5, 2 years, 2.5 years, I'll try to prove out that. Well, I'm going to pair her with either a leopard or a het leopard, and try to see if I can get some. I'm wanting some just regular leopards and some regular calicos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 60% of what I have is double gene or is a tiger. Mm-hmm. And tigers are great. There's some really cool ones, but I want some non-tiger leopards and some non-tiger calicos.
Fair enough.
But I've kind of shifted from the reds, and I'm really liking these hypo animals and the leopard animals and the het leopard animals. I think the het leopards and the hypos are probably my favorite. Now a lot of the hypo stuff I have is yet to be proven. But from hypos that I got from Gulf Coast Reptiles 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, the ones I have now share a lot of the markers as the ones I proved out several years ago. So, and I guess I'm a little cheesy. I'll call them a hypo before I prove them out. If I know it came from an animal that was leucistic or came out of a hypo litter that leucistics came from. Mm-hmm. I got to stop doing that though. I got to prove them out. So I'm pretty sure Twinkie's a hypo. And I'm pretty sure his sister Honeybun's a hypo, but I'm not pairing them together. I don't like to inbreed or line breed. If I can get away with outcrossing, I'll do it. And so I've got an animal coming from Roy Gresco, December, January, that came out of his male. The sire is a Lucy, and this particular animal is a garden phase, and it's a male. So what I think I'm going to do is I'll grow it up for a year or two, and then I'll pair it to honey bun. And we'll see. Maybe I'll get lucky and get a white snake.
What is the timeline and process of breeding Amazon tree boas? Long.
Okay. Okay. That's easy. What you got to do is you first have to either obtain an animal or have neos, and you got to get them started eating, which speaks for itself. Once they start eating, I like to feed my neos every 6-7 days. And I start all my neos off, regardless of how big the neo is, on fuzzy mice. They can take a fuzzy mouse, no problem. You don't want to give them a hopper. You don't want to give them a large fuzzy mouse, but giving them pinkies is a waste of time because it takes them longer to shed. It takes them longer to grow. So I start them out on fuzzy mice, and they get fuzzy mice for 4 to 6 months, and then I'll switch them to hoppers, and they get those 4 to 6 months, and then I'll switch them to small adult mice, and they get those 4 to 6 months, and then when they're around 1.5 to 2 years old, if they've grown sufficiently, I'll start feeding them adult mice. And a male Amazon will breed, if you're lucky, they'll breed as early as 18 months. I've found that some of them don't, but most of them breed around 2.5 years, the males. And the females, I like 3 years, 3.5 years. So what you do is probe them, and if the probe goes into your elbow, it's a male. If the probe barely goes in, it's a female. You can pretty much bet on that. And I find that some of the ones, I've got one right now, I'm thinking it's a female. On my Instagram page, I named her Pyro. But Pyro is probing 5 scales deep on both sides. And I believe that's the threshold. Mm-hmm. So I didn't pair Pyro this season. So I'm gonna throw him. I'm gonna throw a male in with Pyro this coming season and watch them and see if they start jumping out of the container. And then I'll have a decent idea that Pyro's a male if they spaz out on each other, but hopefully she's a female. It's a Calico Tiger I got from Rory Gresco 3.5 years ago, and raised her up, and she's pretty, and she has maintained that really crisp, nice red color. I love them too, man. I love them too. The Amazons, I go to bed thinking about Amazons. I wake up thinking about Amazons. And then all day long I'm thinking about Amazons. It's a sickness. It's a disease.
It's an addiction.
Oh, when you get it, it's over.
I know. Oh, I know.
Randy's got a killer collection. And honestly, it's once you get into them and everything's going right, it's so addictive.
Yeah, you go from 1 to 8 in 2 months.
And it won't end there.
It won't end don't there. Say that. I
You're going to have to.
I have to stay off of people's stories. I have to stay off people's Instagrams.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's bad.
absolutely. But I was saying, I added on to I had a 120 square foot snake room, which a lot of people are working with that kind of room. And I just felt like I needed to scale up because my ideal situation would be to have 100, 200 adults and, you know, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 breedings a year, which I'm not there yet, but I did add 450 square feet onto the room. And I am in the process of buying more racks, more arboreal cubes. They changed quite a bit too. But this year I didn't start pairing them up in December like I would normally. I started pairing them up March 1st. And I put 5 pairs together. 2 of the males that bred like champions last season didn't breed at all this season. One of my males named, 4 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They can have anywhere from 0 to 25. I've seen the biggest litter I've seen is 19. The smallest litter I've seen is 1. But you're right, 4 to 6, especially on a first time female going the first season, if you get 6 or 7, that's a good litter. But a lot of females that have been bred before and you give them a year off, I like to cycle them every year, every 2 years. And then sometimes I've got females that I just haven't found, I don't have the right male to pair them with, or I don't have the right female to pair to the male. And I won't just breed just to breed. I like to have an idea of what I'm shooting for and anticipation and expectation of kind of a ballpark idea of what I'm going to get. So I've got animals that are 4 years old that I may breed eventually, and then again I may not. And it really just depends on what I'm pairing them with. And I'm not just shooting for morphs, specific morphs, but that's cool too. And a lot of what I have came from Roy Gresco and Dayton Croydon. And again, I've never met Roy in person. I haven't met Randy in person, but I met Dayton in person, and Dayton is on the top of my list. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. He's been doing this for a long time. Unlike him, I've been in it and I've been out of it. But Dayton has been steadfast. And when I was getting my hypo animals from Chris McQuaid from Gulf Coast Reptiles 13, 14 years ago, behind the scenes, I kind of orchestrated a deal between Dayton and Chris. And Dayton traded Chris a tiger, and Chris traded Dayton a hypo that wasn't proven. And Dayton did the hard work. He sent me a text after, I think it was after he had his first litter from the hypo, and said, "What are you looking at to tell what's hypo and what's not?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "A lack of pigment." And I felt like that was a smart ass answer, but it was the only answer I could give because I hadn't proven anything out yet. And again, I didn't know what I was looking at either. But Dayton did the hard work, and he made a couple Lucy's. He made a Lucy 6-7 years ago, and that animal didn't. I think it lived to be a year, maybe a little over a year, and then it died. But the ones he's got now, and Lucy's, I'm not going to say they're hit and miss, but there was a lot of line breeding with the hypos.
Mm-hmm.
And anything you line breed, if there's a health problem or something like that, you're compounding that issue when you line breed or inbreed.
Yeah.
So that's why I like to outcross. And I sent you a picture of VX. That's the greenish Het Lucy.
That VX.
It's still loading for me right now, so
It's hanging from a tree.
yeah. I also sent, yeah, that's VX. That came from Roy Gresco, and the sire is a proven Lucy. Bobby Pruitt produced the sire. He had 3 Lucies in a litter of animals that he got the parents from Chris McQuaid, and they did not look hypo, just like VX does not look hypo. And there's a difference of opinion on the mode of inheritance between a so-called Het Lucy and a so-called hypo. Rory Gresco thinks it's recessive. Dayton Croydon, if I can speak for him on this, thinks it's incomplete dominant. I don't care what it is. I just want to produce solid animals, and I would love to make a Lucy or 2. And we'll let the big dogs figure out what the mode of inheritance is. I've kind of got my opinion, but I'm going to keep it to myself. But I've got a friend. I want to mention his name, Sean O'Hearn. He's a young guy that's got some pretty cool Amazons. And me and him were having a discussion a couple weeks, maybe a month ago, about bicolors. And I love bicolors, yellow and orange, clean bicolors. But what I really love is a bicolor that will produce a leucistic animal. And a lot of the hypos that Dayton has are bicolors. They're really clean. And I don't mind spending money for an Amazon.
Yeah.
And I'll tell anybody, you do the work, you put the pairs together, the female comes to full term, gives birth, you get the baby started, they're eating, they're shedding, they're alert, they're doing good. Don't charge less than $500 for a baby. You're selling yourself short for everything you put into them, selling them for $200, $150. You can go to Morph Market and look at all the Amazons for $200. And guess what? They're not selling. They're still there. They've been there for months. Either they don't pull the post down. I don't know. I really don't know how Morph Market works. I just get on there and look. I wonder if a real clean bicolor would make a brighter Lucy. I have a philosophy, and that is, if you can have a dirty Lucy, how come you can't have a dirty hypo? But I've had 4 Lucys in the past, and you go, Jen. You go,
Listen,
Jen. It's all you.
I will not knock it. I
you.
watch people's stories, and I'm the first one. As soon as the story pops up available, I'm like, where do you want the money? I'm sending it right now.
It's all you. So one of the leucistics I had, and I took a picture of 3 of my Lucys in a tree, and I called it the money tree because I was paying $5,000 per Lucy. And the male that I had when Chris McQuaid produced him, he was a beautiful white animal. And Chris sent him to me. And a couple months later, a couple sheds later, this leucistic animal started gaining brown pigment.
Mm-hmm.
And through that animal's OCC, that animal turned completely brown. The only thing that wasn't brown were his deep blue eyes and his tongue. But he turned completely brown. Didn't look like a Lucy, like you would think a Lucy looks like. And one, excuse my language, one smart ass that was on the internet said, "Oh, that's not a Lucy. It's got pigment." Amazons come in a wide variety of colors. They go through some incredible changes during their first 2-3 years. I think that's what draws a lot of people to Amazons is, you know, like me, when I first saw the red one,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, I gotta get a hold of one of those. And the passion began. I was a 120-pound, 5'2", 19-year-old. And look at me now.
Still 5'2".
I've got some killer animals. No, I'm 5'10" now. I grew like 8 inches after. I grew like, yeah. My legs really hurt at night. My legs were killing me. I was growing. But yeah, so I think if you start out with a couple clean hypos and you do produce a Lucy, I tend to think that Lucy will stay white and maybe gain some yellow.
Mm-hmm.
But the work hasn't been done yet, and I'm hoping to get in on it. So I think those leucistics can gain some color, or I know they can. Chris McQuaid had one he called Pepper. It was a female, and she had little black specks all over her. Beautiful snake, but she wouldn't breed, or the males that he put with her wouldn't breed her. So, you know, there's a lot of work to be done. And I will say this, getting away from the hypos and the Lucies, Jen, I sent you a picture of my Liger male who is proven. His name is Sith. And I bred him I got Sith from Rory Gresco. That's Sith. That's an older picture of him. I think that picture is a year and a half old. Really, really melanistic Liger. A lot of leopards and Ligers you see got a whole lot more silver to them. But this guy, the silver, I love it. I love it. He's really good guy. He don't bite. He'll like it when you handle him. He may strike at you once or twice, and then after that, he's like, oh, okay, big guy's got me again. Let's see what we're going for pictures, or you know. And I don't. I don't even want to mention how much money I paid for him.
He is pretty.
A small fortune. Thank you. Rory Gresco produced him. But I paired him up with a tiger het leopard female that I got from Dayton. I call her Calypso. And
right there. She's beautiful too. My God.
That's why I was saying the tiger het leopards are phenomenal. I mean, they are they're one of a kind. And that leopard gene, man, I'm really thankful that leopards are actually selling for more than what they sold for 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Leopards are super underrated. They're not very common. They're hard to get. And if you can get one for less than $2,000, buy it. But leopards now are going for $2,000 a piece. And rightly so.
She's beautiful.
Thank you. She had her post-ovulation shed last Tuesday. So we're on day 5, 6, 7, 6, day 6.
How many days to go?
114.
Ooh, it's gonna be a long wait.
I've seen them go as early as 110 days, and I've seen them go as late as 150 days. But that really depends on supplemental heating. I like to, since I have such a bigger snake room, I like to use ambient heat.
Mm-hmm.
And I run a humidifier, a large humidifier in my room. I don't spray as much as I used to with a spray bottle, but if I notice one of my animals is in the shed, I'll spray them, and that usually ensures a good solid one-piece shed. But that humidifier I got was a beautiful Christmas present for my wife a couple years ago, and I could not thank her enough. I put a gallon of water in it every day, and it keeps my snake room at 65, 70% humidity. Now in the wintertime, I run 2 humidifiers and about 2 to 3 gallons a day.
Mm-hmm.
And Randy's been twisting my arm trying to get me to get a RODI or a RODI, or I guess it's reverse osmosis distillery, because he's got fish and fish guys do the RODI thing. But I'm kind of dumb and I don't know how to set one up. So I go to Walmart and get distilled water by the gallon for $1.37 a gallon. Hey, I got the money, so might as well. Maybe I'll get Randy to come down and set up a RODI system. What do you think, Randy?
There you go.
I call Randy the big Wookie because he's a 6'4", 6'5". I like to pick on him.
That's all right. Something tells me he can probably dishes it out too.
Yeah. Oh, he does. But the bicolors and the hypos, if you want a good clean bicolor, spend a little bit more money and get a hypo, because you can make more hypos or het loosies, whatever you want to call them. But you can make more of them.
He needed the excuse. So that's the excuse to go set up the system.
There you go, man. I'll grill you a ribeye. Or I'll grill you 2 ribeye since you're a big man. What's up, Quinn?
So hypo and bicolor and leopards. And what is Butterface? You sent me a picture of Butterface too. Let's talk about Butterface, because Butterface is beautiful.
Butterface, yeah. That's kind of that's not really an appropriate name, but I mean, she is yellow. That is actually a tiger that I have yet to prove out as being hypo. I got her from Dayton, and I'm wishy-washy as to who I'm going to pair her with. Twinkie has the most markers for hypomelanism of any animal that I have. And so up here, I'm thinking, yeah, Twinkie, you're a hypo. And so ideally, I would put Twinkie with Butterface and see if I get Lucy. If I didn't get Lucy, that doesn't mean Butterface ain't hypo. That doesn't mean Twinkie's not hypo. That just means the odds weren't in my favor, and I got to try again. Dijon, that's a good one. And I like mustard. I love mustard.
There you go.
But and she's got an attitude.
Oh, she looks
Lord
like
have, she's got an attitude.
she looks like it.
She's definitely a butt or face.
She's pretty, so she's allowed to have a shitty attitude.
Yeah. The prettier you are, the crazier. Not in all cases, but you know, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand. So what I'm going to do, I like to do, again, with the breeding, I like to have one male to one female, a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
So when I'm purchasing Amazons, I'm thinking ahead. I've got a game plan. I don't just buy Amazons. I used to. There we go. Good point.
Now here we go. All the she's have an attitude.
I'm not. Hey, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
It's all right. We all do.
That didn't come out. That didn't come out of my mouth.
As the woman in the room, I will say it.
You got the floor. You got all rights. I'm gonna pair Twinkie with VX, and I may give Butterface another season off, and try to do Twinkie to Butterface maybe in 2026, 2027. Well, actually, it's 2025. So December 1st, I'm putting Twinkie with VX with the idea that if I'm fortunate, I'll get a Lucy or two. And in 2027, I may do Twinkie to Butterface. Or I may do Sith to Butterface and get some Tiger, Het Leopard, Het Lucy's. And I won't know if they're Het Lucy till I prove them out.
So that means you'd be keeping all of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got a big snake room now. I don't plan on selling, quite frankly, anything for a while. I'm trying to get my numbers up.
That's fair.
I'm trying to get my adult I'm trying to get my adult numbers up. I've got 3 gravid females right now. One that I've never taken a picture of. She's a garden tiger. I bred a a calico tiger male to her, and they bred almost every day for 3 months. Then I bred Ganymede, which is a tiger het leopard male that I got from Dayton. He is actually the brother to Calypso. But I bred Ganymede to Omega, and Omega is a calico tiger. So this is to stress the desire for a lack of a stripe. All 3 pairs that went this year, every one of them is a tiger. Go figure. So I'm going to have a lot of tigers. And if I get lucky enough to have babies that aren't tigers, they are staying with me. They're not going anywhere.
Convince you otherwise, huh?
Nope. You couldn't threaten me. You couldn't harm me. And if you did, I'd laugh. They're staying with me. Me and Randy talked about this a couple weeks ago. Randy's like, "Oh, I love the tigers." Dude, I love the tigers too, but everything's a tiger these days. Everything's a tiger. And there's
No, it's
something to
every
be
color in a
said.
tiger.
There's something to be said for animals that aren't tiger. Because as we continue to breed these animals in captivity, there's going to be a whole lot more tigers. And when I bought my first tiger from Danny Mendez, I paid $2,500. Now you can get a tiger for $500. And if people don't do the $500 rule, I call it the $500 rule. No Amazon for less than $500 unless you don't like yourself and you don't like money. Sell them for what you want to, but I'm not selling a captive bred Amazon for less than $500. I don't care if it's got a stripe or not. I don't care if it's a garden phase. I don't care.
Do you think some of those prices will start to pick back up again as the popularity grows with them?
I do. A lot of green tree python and ball python people are getting into Amazons now, and that's cool. There you go. Marshall Mendez. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are starting to give love to Amazons, and I've had corn snakes, rosy boas, red tails. I've had some local native snakes that I found. Mm-hmm. But my obsession, again, Amazon Eden, my obsession is Amazons. That and because I've got this bigger snake room now, I plan on getting some Ruchies, some Northerns, and some Basins.
Okay.
So, but those, I'm not in a hurry because my main focus is Amazon, so I'm not in a big hurry, and I'm broke right now. Got to make that money, man.
You do. You know, you can always sell baby.
Eventually.
We're all going to be stalking your stories.
Well, hopefully these 3 gravid females come to full term in September, October, November. I think Calypso will have babies in November. I think my Garden Tiger girl will go in September, and I believe Omega will go in October. And once I get them, once the female's done having them, and I put them in their own, I kind of keep them together for a couple of days, and then I separate them pretty quickly. But you can be sure I'll be posting pictures on Instagram. And I'll be giving names too. Yeah, I'll be coming up with some names. Some I got names up here. I got this Sith Calypso litter. I've already got them named. I've got them named. I'm just waiting to see how many ligers I get, how many leopards I get, how many tiger het leopards I get, how many het leopards I get, how many colored leopards I get, if there's a such thing. We'll see. And then there's debate on whether or not there's actually a super tiger, which I'll put a ring in her nose like the hogs, the farmers used to do the hogs so they wouldn't root. My granddaddy would put 10 or 15 rings in one hog's nose. I'll put a ring in her nose. That way maybe she won't bite me. Here's the hoping, right?
Yeah, good luck with that. So as we wrap it up, what is one piece of advice you would give to somebody who's getting into Amazons or getting into the breeding portion of Amazons?
I think for breeding, I would say have a strategy. Expect something. Not just babies, but expect what they're going to look like. Mm-hmm. you know, if you do a Halloween to a red animal, what are you going to get? Halloween to Halloween, you're getting Halloweens. Red to red, you're getting reds. You may get a bicolor or something like that out of a red to red litter. I would say don't overfeed your animals, but the key is don't underfeed them. I've seen people feed desperately small meals to Amazons, and I shake my head because you're not doing that animal any justice. And if you plan on breeding them, you may be waiting for quite some time, and then that animal may not get to breeding size because you are so worried about regurgitations and you're not giving that animal what it needs. An Amazon can take a bigger meal than what you expect. But what I said, my males get one adult mouse every 7 days. And if I'm lazy, every 14 days. My females get 1 to 2 every 7 to 14 days. And you know what an adult mouse looks like. I know people feed rats. And I'm against obese Amazons because I think that's a thing. And I don't think people are saying anything about it. But just expect something and be proud when you produce something and post pictures. We want to see your pictures. We want to see your pairings. And good luck. May the force be with you.
I love it. All right, Jake, I am going to throw you backstage real quick while we wrap this up, and then I'll join you. Thank you so much.
Adios, people. My pleasure.
All right, everyone. That wraps up another episode of Conjure Corner on the Herp Collectors Network. Don't forget to tune in to all the other shows we have on the network. And with that being said, have a great night, and thank you so much for coming on.
Conjure, corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Conjure, corner watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Conjure Corner, where we make our name. Conjure Corner, Conjure Corner, Conjure Corner, Conjure Corner, Conjure Corner, Conjure Corner, Conjure Corner. Conjure Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Conjure